my darlings. They say every comic book tells a story. Some tell stories of heroes. Some tell stories of monsters. But tonight's tale concerns a comic dealer who discovered that some customers never truly leave. Gather close, my darlings, and let me tell you the story of the dealer who sold to the dead. Veronica Grayson owned a small comic shop on a forgotten side street. The place wasn't glamorous. No giant neon signs. No celebrity signings. Just rows of long boxes, dusty old shelves, and comics stretching back nearly 70 years. Business was slow. Most days, Martin spent more time organizing books than selling them. Yet he loved the shop. Every comic had a history. Every collection carried memories. And some memories, he would soon learn, refused to stay buried. One rainy October afternoon, a man entered the store. Martin had never seen him before. The customer wore a dark overcoat and fedora. Water dripped from the brim of his hat. Without saying a word, he walked directly to the Golden Age section. Martin thought nothing of it. Collectors could be strange. After nearly 30 minutes, the man approached the counter. He carried a single comic, a battered horror comic from 1952. The price sticker read $25. The customer laid a crisp $50 bill on the counter. Martin opened the register, but when he looked up, the man was gone. Not walking anywhere. Gone. The front door had never opened. The bell had never rung. Yet the customer had vanished. Martin searched outside. Found nothing. No footprints. No parked car. No sign anyone had ever been there. He laughed it off. Perhaps he had simply been distracted. The next morning he discovered something strange. The $50 bill was old. Very old. Far older than it should have been. The bill's design hadn't been printed for decades. Martin assumed it was a novelty reproduction. He tossed it into a drawer. Then the customer returned. Same coat. Same hat. Same silent stare. This time he purchased a different comic. Another horror book. Again he paid with old currency. Again he disappeared. By the end of the week, it had happened 4 times. Martin grew uneasy, but curiosity eventually overpowered fear. The next time the customer arrived, Martin decided to follow him. The man purchased the comic, turned, walked toward the back of the store, and vanished into the shadows between 2 long boxes. Not disappeared behind him, vanished, as though he had stepped through a doorway nobody else could see. That night, Martin stayed late. He searched every corner of the shop. Eventually, he noticed a section of wall hidden behind old shelving. The shelves had not been moved in years. With tremendous effort, he pulled them aside. Behind them stood an old wooden door. A door he had never seen before. A door that shouldn't have existed. There was no room for it. No hallway. No hidden chamber. Yet there it stood. The brass knob felt icy cold. Martin opened it, and beyond was darkness. Not ordinary darkness. A darkness so complete it seemed alive. Then slowly, rows of comic books appeared. Thousands of them, stretching farther than the eye could see. An endless comic collection. Every issue imaginable. Rarities, lost books, comics nobody knew still existed. Martin stepped inside and heard voices, whispers, hundreds of whispers, turning pages, discussing stories, arguing over first appearances. The sounds of collectors, but collectors from somewhere else. An elderly man rose from the darkness. Unlike the silent customer, he smiled. "Welcome," he said. "We've been expecting you." Martin demanded answers. The old man explained. For generations, passionate collectors had gathered in this place after death. Not heaven, not hell, just a library of stories. A place where the love of collecting never ended. The silent customer had once been in Martin's shop. Many years ago, he had returned searching for comics he remembered owning. Books that had somehow survived in the world of the living. The old man warned Martin. Visitors from the collection could purchase books, but every transaction came at a cost. Each sale created a connection between worlds. Too many connections, and the barrier separating them would collapse. Martin laughed. It sounded impossible until he noticed something horrifying. Every collector in the endless room had pale gray eyes. Every one of them. including the silent customer. And now, Norton's reflection in a nearby display case showed his own eyes slowly turning gray. For weeks, Martin resisted returning. If temptation constrained him, the collection contained books worth fortunes. Books nobody had seen for generations. Eventually, he began making trades. A rare comic here, a valuable key there. His business exploded. Collectors traveled from across the country. Everybody wanted to know where Martin found these treasures, but he would never answer. Each trade made him wealthier and paler. His eyes grew lighter, his skin colder, his sleep shorter. Then one evening, the silent customer appeared carrying a comic Martin immediately recognized. It was the very first comic Martin had ever owned as a child. A book lost decades ago. The customer placed it on the counter. He then pointed at Martin. The trade was clear. The comic, for him. Martin finally understood. The collection wasn't giving him books. It was slowly collecting him, one trade at a time, one piece of his life at a time, until he belonged to it forever. The next morning, customers found the comic shop open. Lights on. The register was running. Long boxes perfectly organized. But Martin Grayson was gone. No note, no trace, no sign of struggle. Only one thing remained on the counter. A worn war comic. Beside it sat an old receipt. The receipt listed a single transaction. Customer, Martin Grayson. Item purchased. Wanting eternity. Price paid. Everything. And if you should ever find yourself browsing an old comic shop late at night, and a silent collector in a dark coat offers to buy a comic, be very careful what you sell, because some customers never stop collecting. Until next time, my darlings. Keep your lights on, and your long box is closed.